You've done it before. Driven across town for someone who wouldn't do the same for you. Covered their shift. Lent them money you never saw again. Listened at midnight to a problem that wasn't yours to carry. And somehow, after all of it, you didn't like them less. You liked them more. That should feel backwards. You gave, and they took. But your brain didn't file it that way at all. By the end of this, you'll understand why doing favors for someone who doesn't reciprocate can make you feel closer to them, not more resentful, and why the person taking advantage of you might not even know they're doing it. You'd assume affection causes generosity. You help people you already like. Reasonable guess. But there's a version of this that runs in the opposite direction entirely. So what's actually happening in your brain when you give more than you get? The story starts with Benjamin Franklin himself. In the 1700s, Franklin wanted to win over a political rival who disliked him. Instead of doing him a favor, Franklin asked the rival for one. He requested to borrow a rare book from the man's library. The rival agreed. Franklin returned it with a thank you note. And according to Franklin's own writings, the man's attitude toward him shifted completely. They became friends. Why would asking someone for a favor make them like you more? 2 centuries later, psychologist Leon Festinger gave this a name. Cognitive dissonance. The theory is simple but unsettling. Your brain hates holding 2 conflicting beliefs at once. If you do something that doesn't match your feelings, your brain doesn't usually change the action. It changes the feelings instead. So if Franklin's rival did him a favor, despite disliking him, his brain had a problem to solve. Why would I help someone I don't like? The easiest fix wasn't logic. It was a quiet, automatic update to how he actually felt. That's beat 1. But it gets more clinical. In 1969, psychologists John Jecker and David Landy ran an experiment to test this directly. Participants won money in a rigged contest. Afterward, some were asked by the experimenter to return part of their winnings, supposedly because the researcher was personally paying for the experiment out of pocket. Guess what happened next? The participants who returned the money rated the experimenter as significantly more likable than those who weren't asked at all. Sound familiar? Nothing about the experimenter had changed. Only the participants' own behavior had. And their feelings rearranged themselves to match it. So here's the reframe. You don't usually help people because you like them. Sometimes, you like people because you've already helped them, and your brain needs a reason that makes sense. Now bring that back to a real relationship. If you keep showing up for someone who rarely shows up for you, your brain doesn't want to sit with the uncomfortable truth that you're being used. It's far easier to unconsciously boost how much you like them instead. The imbalance gets emotionally rewritten as connection. Here's the answer you were promised. Favors given without return can make you feel closer, not more resentful, because your mind resolves the tension between your actions and your feelings by shifting the feelings, not the actions. And the person on the receiving end often isn't running a calculated manipulation at all. They may have simply learned, without ever studying Festinger or Franklin, that asking for a little more tends to make people stick around a little longer. But if this bond is built on an illusion, why does it hold up so well? Because it doesn't feel like an illusion from the inside. It feels like evidence. Every late-night favor, every unreciprocated effort, becomes proof, to your own brain, that this relationship must matter. The pattern reinforces itself. The more you give, the more your mind insists there must be a good reason why. That's the twist. This effect isn't a flaw specific to weak or naive people. It's a basic feature of how human cognition resolves contradiction. Which means almost anyone can be pulled into it, usually without noticing. And this shows up everywhere modern life asks something of you. Think about the friend who only texts when they need something, yet somehow still feels close to you. Think about the coworker who always needs one more favor, and how oddly loyal you feel toward them anyway. Think about relationships where you're consistently the one adjusting, apologizing, or showing up, and how convinced you remain that it's love. None of this means every one-sided relationship is manipulation. Sometimes it's just circumstance. But it does mean your own sense of closeness isn't always reliable evidence of mutual investment. Sometimes it's just your brain protecting itself from an uncomfortable question. So the next time you notice yourself feeling unusually warm towards someone who rarely meets you halfway, it's worth pausing. Ask what's actually being reciprocated, not just what you're willing to give. Real connection should feel earned by both people, not manufactured by one mind quietly trying to make sense of its own effort. You've done it before. Driven across town for someone who wouldn't do the same for you. And now you know exactly why that drive felt like love instead of what it actually was.